La da 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 da, la 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 la. La da 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 da, na 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 na. La da 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 da, la 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 la. La da 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 la 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 la. I got this message from angels above. Come together in a circle of love. Put down your weapons and unload your guns. Come together in a circle of love. Yeah. La da 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 da, la 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 la. La da 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 da, da 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 da. Going deaf from explosions. Screaming babies everywhere. Their blood is flowing to the oceans. Our hearts are numb from trying to care. Trying to care. I got this message from angels above. Come together in a circle of love. Put down your weapons and unload your guns. Come together in a circle of love. Yeah. La da 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 da. La 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 la. La da 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 da. Soon, when the smoke and dust has lifted and all the rubble has been cleared, and all the bodies will be sifted, their ghosts will walk around for years, years and years. Yeah, I got this message from angels above. Come together in a circle of love. Put down your weapons and unload your guns. Come together in a circle of love. Yeah. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. I got this message from angels above. Come together in a circle of love. Put down your weapons and unload your guns. Come together in a circle of love. Yeah. Sha da 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 da. La 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 la. La da 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 da. La 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 la. I am guided, I am protected, 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 I am guided, I am protected. When the light of hope it fades, when all faith is blown away, when all sense of trust goes down, when a smile turns into frown, when it feels there's no relief, nothing in which to believe, desperate in woe and grief, angels come reminding me, I am guided, I am protected, 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 I am guided, I am protected. Angels gather cannot see. Angels take me by the hand, lift me when I cannot stand. Angels lead me through the dark, soothe and tend a broken heart, laughing at the circumstance, crying while we sing and dance. I am guided, I am protected, 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 I am guided, I am protected. Good evening. I'm just about done here with the astrodoodle. Actually, I'm just going to leave it like that. That'll work. Okie dokie. So, let's see. Oh, hi. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Path. Hello, Maria. Hi. So I thought I would check in. I don't think I'm going to be here very long. I can't see myself doing any readings tonight. I'm not in a very fit state. But we can still continue with a little bit of the astrodoodle here. I'll guide you through things. So tonight, we did a little thing last night because I was very concerned about the cusps. If you remember, you saw that video about all the cusps and lots of big changes coming up. Good evening, Jeffrey. Good evening, Gregory. Just FYI, I'm not going to be here very long. I'm going to go through the astrodoodle and set things up so people have an understanding of where they are. I kind of threw these out last night. This is what we're looking at for March, folks. And this is what we've got right now today. Here is the new moon marked over here. Okay, so we've got these cusp things happening here. So lots of shifts in energy. Sometimes it's very hard to handle the shifts in energy, especially once multiple times happening at the same time. Last night we talked about Pluto on the cusp of Aquarius here. Capricorn moving to Aquarius. Two very different energies. We've got the cusp of Saturn moving into Pisces soon. We've got the cusp right now of Venus moving into Aries. Okay? There's more stuff going to go on because, of course, the Sun and Moon and Mercury are going to do their things. But the really, really big ones to think about are Saturn and Pluto. They're going to be making big shifts this year. And Pluto is just going to be hovering on the cusp for the rest of the year. So it's extreme high pressure. Okay, really, really, I don't know how to describe it. Just a lot of pressure. It's almost like a battle between two energy fields, the Capricorn energy and the Aquarius energy. So let me go through this a minute. So hold on, let me go over here. So what's happening right now is we're actually dealing with the upcoming Pisces new moon. And, it's been a year. Now we're going into Pisces season. And that'll be, as far as the sun is concerned, that's about a 30-day episode. And during that time, we're going to go through a full lunar cycle. The moon is in Pisces right now, conjoined with the sun, roughly at 0 to 1 degrees. So it's to me, that's very significant. It's like boom, right in your face energy. And then in 2 weeks exactly, of course, we're going to have the moon in Virgo at the full moon. And then 2 weeks after that, we're going to have a whole shift into Aries energy.
So let me go back to the chart for a second. Well, actually, no. Let's just stay here for a second. With the Pisces energy, it's, in my experience, because I've been doing this a long time in my own quirky way, I've done thousands of readings for people, hundreds with astrology and thousands with tarot. I'm not going to do any tarot tonight. I know I should because it's a tarot channel. But it's a little bit beyond my capacity at the moment, but I just still want to share the astrology because that's universal, okay? So what I noticed is that Pisces energy, well, let's be more broad. Let's just call it the Neptune energy. It's some of the hardest energy to understand and deal with as far as human beings are concerned in day-to-day life. Pluto is pretty blunt. It's unmistakable. It's very, very deep, of course. It's almost impossible to understand. It's almost imperceptible in terms of human experience unless you look at it at the geopolitical scale over periods of many years, okay? And then it becomes very obvious. The Uranus energy, of course, is pretty straightforward too. It's shock, awe, awakening, newness, rattling things, inspiration, divine spontaneous knowledge and awareness. And in a way, it's predictable, and it's predictable in its unpredictability. It's just a question of the nature and the way it's unpredictable and the different themes. Again, I'm talking about the three outer planets here, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which are often pretty hard for people to absorb and understand and integrate into their body, their mind, their heart, and their soul, because the planets are so far away, they are visibly undetectable. And so it's almost like they are operating at the subconscious or at the level of mystery, or where there is no conscious ownership on our part. When we talk about Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, those have been highly predictable patterns for many thousands of years in one form or another, whether you did ancient astrology, mythical astrology, mundane astrology, Vedic astrology, Druid astrology, Roman, whatever it is. It was all based on these highly predictable movements of the planets. Today we use an ephemeris, which is really no different to what they did thousands of years ago, except today it's extremely accurate and highly predictable for hundreds of years to come. And, SpaceX uses it, NASA uses it, airlines, airplanes, the weather channels, and they use it all. They use ephemeris. Farmers use it for farming. Earthquake trackers and weather trackers use it for weather, and so on and so on. Astrologers use it for astrology. It's the same, it's the energy of the planets. And I think I mentioned recently how the big earthquakes in Turkey and Syria were highly predictable, according to this one fellow in the Netherlands. Everybody mocked him, but he totally nailed it. He said it's going to happen in Syria and Turkey, but mostly it's Turkey. It's going to be a really big one. Why is this so? It's because Turkey has the most fragile, vulnerable fault lines on Earth at this moment in time. It's always changing, but at that time, he specified Turkey. And then he was questioned by some of his peers. Well, why are you saying this so precisely? And he said, well, it's simply because of the alignment of the planets and their electromagnetic influence on Earth. And everybody went, and he just proved them all wrong. So there you go, okay? So the thing about Neptune is that it seems to represent these things that are intangible, nebulous, ill-defined, to do with conceptual things, like we call them conceptual things, like love or compassion or extrasensory perception, some sort of connection with divinity, like here's us in our three-dimensional reality, and then there's this veil beyond which there is a multi-dimensional existence. And of course, people have been craving awareness of this for hundreds of thousands of years. Humans have been around in human form for what I don't know, what is it, 1.5 million years, but in the more recordable historic sense for maybe 150,000 years. And it's probably only in the last 3 to 5 to 7,000 years that astrology came into prominence, and it was regarded as one of the highest forms of science and knowledge on Earth way back in the day. In modern times, it's mostly regarded as quackery, which I think is kind of sad. But anyway, so with Neptune energy, I think it came about through mythology, where the astrologers had to attribute certain very definable observations with humanity. And so it was mostly, they could figure it out with Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Like Saturn, the great teacher. Saturn, the limiter. Saturn, the one that will punish you if you don't abide by the laws and do things properly. Venus, all about love and romance and comfort and worldly sensory pleasures and things, and it was all very predictable. But when it comes to Neptune, I believe the astrologers put everything that they could not understand into the bucket called Neptune. They had these mythological creatures allocated towards Pluto, allocated towards Uranus, and allocated towards Neptune, but they were more to do with mythology than actual planets. I think the ancient astrologers knew damn well that there were at least 3 more heavenly bodies out there, if only they could see them, if only they could find them. And it was only in the last 150, 170 years that they've actually managed to actually see Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto with these amazing telescopes. And then all of a sudden, astrology became a lot more complex and advanced, and it recalibrated itself to allow for Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto and the energies that they represent. And so it came out of the world of mythology and into the world of, let's say, empirical measurement. And that's where we are today. And even today, all the things that are really, really hard to deal with get lumped into the Neptune energy. And Neptune rules Pisces. And so the beautiful energy side of Pisces, of course, is divinity. It's this awareness of universal love. It's this energy of sacrifice and martyrdom where, let's say, the love of a loved one is more important to you than the love of the self or the love of things or the love of success. You know, like in these, you hear stories about a little old lady who died, and she had a loving partner, and within a couple of weeks the loving partner died for no particular reason, probably perfectly healthy, but somehow or other his heart could not function without her heart could not function without his, and they were essentially living as one entity, and so on. People have these divine experiences. They cross over to the other side. They experience heaven. They come back and tell the stories. It's the land of dreams. It's the land of the intangible, the land of stories and inspiration and visions and heaven and unconditional love. In other words, you know, how some people love another person even though the other person is not worthy or deserving. You love them anyway. Love anyway. Be loving, be loved. It's so easy for me to say. It's a little different to actually do it. So anyway, this is going to be the prominent energy for the time being, this Neptune Pisces theme. And it's going to be different for everybody, and that's what I'm going to go into tonight very, very briefly, to give you an idea that you don't have to live at the mercy of something that's very, very hard to, let's say, integrate or own or define or manage or understand. When Neptune energy is not owned or managed or understood properly or in a healthy way, we can experience here on Earth in human beings as things like sickness, psychopathy, sociopathy, drug addiction, insanity, criminal behavior where people go against the laws of nature, and they abandon any sense of conscious awareness of love and being loving. And they, I would say, subconsciously choose to negate love. They deliberately choose to push love aside. Classic examples of this behavior would be people who are suffering inside of institutions. Some of people are born with very tragic situations. Okay, my friend Tegan died a few months ago, and she was born with muscular dystrophy. She was a wonderful woman, just wonderful spark of life, but the mark of tragedy was there from the beginning, and it lived out its course, and the end, of course, was very tragic for her, and it's very, very heartbreaking. And of course, millions of people suffer that way. Soldiers die in war. They don't even know why they went to war. And then they end up pulverized, crushed, dismembered. They end up with PTSD for the rest of their lives. Little children who were abused become abusers. Things like that. People who present themselves as saviors end up becoming abusers and perpetrators, you know. Vote for me and I will save you. Oh, I am the holy high priest of blah, 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 blah. Come into my fold. Come into my fold. And while you're here, by the way, hand over your credit card and your ID. And we'll put that through processing right now. And then come over to this other room and we'll do a little examination to see if you are worthy of being with us. And of course, you know what that story is. So it's, you know, sexual perversion and things like that. Criminals end up doing despicable things. Psychopaths, sociopaths do it on a global corporate scale. It's almost like they worship evil. They worship the absence of love, because it can be so satisfying when you tune into the lust and everything that goes with self-indulgence with power, money, and control. And it becomes like an extremely powerful drug. In some ways more powerful than any kind of opioid. And once you've had a taste of it, like, you're never going to give it up. And so, like birds of a feather flock together, psychopaths, sociopaths hang out with each other. You've probably seen these lists of names of some of the people at the very top of some of these big pharmas, big global corporations, big financial institutions who operate with, there's only one word for it, it's evil. And it's deliberate, it's choice to exploit you, the people, we, the people, for their benefit. It's just the absence of love. There's so many other things that can be associated with Neptune, Pisces energy, like being an artist, a musician, a writer, someone who receives divine inspiration, someone who has excellent powers for remote healing, things like that. People who do, tarot, astrology, and energy healing, and so on. So, like all the planets, they all have different, keywords and manifestations. The tricky thing about Neptune is that it's hard to understand. It's very, very hard for people who are sexual abusers to understand and accept their nature, because for them it's just their nature. And then they end up in prison, or they've destroyed people's lives, and then they can just look like ordinary people, and someone would ask them, like, well, why did you do this? Why did you destroy these people's lives? And they would say something like, well, I liked it. It was fun. I couldn't help myself, and I really enjoyed it. And they didn't seem to be too resistant. In the end, I knew that they wanted it anyway. I knew they were asking for it, so I was just going to give it to them anyway. And how can you, drug abuse, insanity from drug abuse, the degradation of your body, mind, heart, and soul from drug abuse. From some people have very, very highly refined, highly tuned self-medication strategies to get through life. You got to have your triple espresso in the morning, and then your energy drink, and then you got to have your green power powders, and then you got to have your relaxation powders, and then you got to have your legalized CBD things, and you just have all these chemicals that you're throwing in and out of your system to create a flat line. Like, I'm fine, everything is normal, everything is just fine. And the whole idea of creating the flat line is to convince yourself that you're living in a life that is absolutely just fine. Everything is just fine. When it's not. Because typically life goes like this in terms of, our awareness, our experience. Like one moment we're happy, one moment we're sad, one moment we're neutral. Some people are highly functional, some people are highly cerebral, some people are highly physical. Whatever it is, but it's always in a state of flux. Now, a lot of that state of flux for a lot of people can be very hard to manage. So I have this thing called energy management, which is the whole idea is learning energy management that allows you to live life on the understanding that energies fluctuate all the time, including the planets. And so how do you do with that? A lot of people can't. So what they do, they try to create like an artificial representation of life, which would include these, cocktail of strategies to get through one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time. Like, 40 minutes of Netflix, 3 espressos, whatever it is, couple of shots of whatever, or whatever it is. Some people have, I'm going to get my opioids, or whatever it might be. And it's very hard to manage all that stuff. When you take somebody whose whole life is, let's say, they live their whole life in their form of energy management by having these chemical cocktails. And that's their chosen form of energy management. That's how they get through life, and that's fine for them. But what happens when you take away all those chemicals? You've probably had that experience. What happens when you take all that alcohol away from an alcoholic, or the CBD away from the CBD people, or the energy drinks, or the steroids away from the adrenaline junkies, and so on and so on? What happens when you take the opioids away from opioid addicts? Man, there are a lot of opioid addicts out there who live perfectly ordinary lives, as far as you can observe, because they've become addicted and they're living off prescription opioids for whatever reason. pain, usually, emotional, physical, all of it. And you take that away, life becomes a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. Anyway, let me go to the chart, because what I really wanted to do is show you how, the relevance for you personally, you the individual, okay? So let's go over here for a minute. All right, so, okay, that's really bizarre. I forgot to put the sun over here. I should be in blue. Give me a second. Sorry, folks. I messed up my astrodoodle. Let me make sure. Oh, gosh. Okay, I don't want to... Damn. Give me a second here, folks. Just give me a second. You see, they're all... It's really kind of a stellium there. But anyway... All right. So last night we were talking about the cusps, but tonight we're talking about this one over here. Right about here. Okay, on my astrodoodle, we've got Saturn, the Moon, and Sun extremely close to each other, and in a matter of hours, the Moon will move from here to here. Okay, and that would technically be what's called a new moon, and that will be in the Pisces vibe. It's in the very, very early degrees right here. So this sector here, this is the Pisces sector. Okay, all that stuff over there. This is the 12th house. The 12th house in mundane astrology like this represents, the dumpster, the kitchen drawer, the house of sickness, loss, death, depravity, crime, perversion, sorrow, grief, incarceration, sacrifice, martyrdom. Of course, it also represents divinity, universal, pure, undiluted love that has no conditions to it. Love for the sake of love. A very common experience for people in that energy here would be the love of an animal, and the love of an animal for you. Like cows really, really love to be loved. They love having rub downs and tickles and massages. Same thing with goats, chickens, birds, alligators. All sorts of animals love, and they love to be loved. Deer, wolves, foxes, squirrels, fish. Anyway, so right here is the exact degree of the Pisces new moon. So the question is, where does that land for you? So let's say you have a very strong Aries presence in your life. Like you're very strongly, you have a lot of Aries presence. Then this Pisces new moon would affect you right over here in your 12th house. So you might be dealing with a sense of disempowerment or the end of a chapter of your life as you come towards the beginning of a new solar season for the Aries world, a whole year of Aries energy. And so for the next 30 days, you might be going through a period of, you might feel like it's like sorrow, or like a time of reckoning where everything and anything that went wrong has gone wrong, and it's not recoverable, and you become aware of it here. So sometimes this episode can feel like grief, sadness, loss, like the loss of self here. It could also indicate that you might be becoming hypersensitive with ESP and so on. I'm just going to rattle through these really quickly, okay? Over here, like if you are, I'm just going to move this around the chart. So if you are, let's do it like this. I wonder if I could do it like, wait a minute, let me take a ruler here. This might make things look a little more professional. So I just did a little footnote for Aries, okay? So I'm going to do the same thing over here. Let's say that you have strong Taurus energy. So that's the Aries house. Let me move it like this. Let's say you have strong Taurus energy. So that would be this section here. Okay? And the Pisces vibes would be over here. See, what I'm trying to do is jiggle the chart through 12 different sectors of the pie. Okay? So if you have Taurus on the horizon like this, like this, then the Pisces energy would be up here in your 11th house of humanity, community, hope, dreams, wishes for the best of what could be in this lifetime now, mostly for the world around you. And I would say it's very difficult for any Taurian to manifest that or experience that, because it's so hard to grasp this level of idealism and beauty combined. Like you combine the Pisces energy with the 11th house Aquarius vibes, and you've got Saturn there in Aquarius, so which rules the 11th house. So like the Taurian types would experience this new moon over here in their 11th house. So they might be getting feelings like, wow, what is my new wardrobe looking like for how I participate in humanity? Like, do I have to change who I am, the way I am right now, to go to the new upgrades? Because we're always upgrading. For my new life for the next year ahead of me. What does this Pisces new moon mean for me as the Taurus person? How am I going to integrate better with society so that I am a better participant in a way that works for me, but also in such a way that by improving my participation and being the best person that I can be for society, that helps other people. Okay? Let's move on. Let's say you are a Gemini, very prominent Gemini energy over here. Okay, I'll put that on the horizon. Then the Pisces vibes would be up here in your 10th house of like career, destiny, and purpose, and so on. And it might make you feel very nebulous. You might start feeling like, wow, oh yeah, I really got myself tuned into like what I'm really doing here on the planet. I've got a pretty good idea now of what I have to do to take care of business for the long term, to establish a foothold here on Earth and get my act together in terms of long-term, trajectories, career, work, ambition, achievements, and so on. And in some ways that's inherently a little tricky to do when you're dealing with the Pisces Neptune energy, but you still have to do it. You're going to have to do it, Gemini, somehow. Okay, let's move on. Let's say you have Cancerian vibes, okay? Very strong Cancerian vibes. Then the Pisces vibes for you are going to be up here in your 9th house. So my feeling is that for the Cancerian folks, you might be, let's say, really drawn into some very, very high frequency experiences where you might be almost getting like out of body experience frequencies where, more like how you're connecting to greater wisdom, greater understanding of like, what are you supposed to do here? What do you still need to learn? There's like like this reaching out adventure. I'm the Cancerian. I really need to reach out. I need new horizons. I need to be free to make the big mistakes, okay? And that Pisces energy is taking me there. Where do I have to go? What do I have to do? What is that energy? What does it feel like that is drawing me way, way far away from where I am now? It could be a sense of adventure. It could be a sense of needing to research and go much deeper into the worlds of art, music, and writing, for yourself, the Cancerian person. Over here, what about the, where is it? The Leo person, okay? Let's say you are very Leo dominant. Then the Pisces new moon vibe would be over here in your 8th house of other people's money. The 8th house of deep, deep soul searching. The 8th house of secrets. The 8th house of mystery. The 8th house of sex, procreation, and death. The 8th house of the merger of one soul with another, which can happen sort of like in a marriage context. After people are married, after people have made a formalized bond, then they would start to experience life more in the 8th house of complete soul merger, body, mind, heart, and soul, which includes money, resources, time. What does that look like for you, the Leos? What about the Virgo dominant folks? Well, that's going to be in your 7th house. 7th house over here of marriage, of very significant one-on-one partnerships and relationships. The house of open enemies. There's nowhere to hide in the 7th house. This is the axis of relationship. I'll put it like this, okay? It looks sort of like this. So there's the Virgo vibe, there's the Pisces vibe, right here in the 7th house. So the Virgo types might experience an awareness of like anything and everything that's going wrong in love and relationship, anything that's falling apart, losing any sense of meaning or purpose, things that are rotten, fading, sick, unhealthy, abusive, just disappointing, tragic, sad might be happening here. Of course, the exact contrary may be happening where the Virgos might be getting a sense of beauty and divine love and divinity with perhaps a significant other. That theme of universal love. You might get a glimpse of it, a taste of it. And there's nothing else that compares. What happens if you're like a Libra type, okay? There's the Libra vibe. Let's put the Libra on the horizon. So the Pisces vibe, I have to do it down here now. The Pisces vibe is going to happen over there in your 6th house. So the 6th house could be something to do with perhaps jobs, day jobs, chores, work, tasks, a lot of the things that have to be done in life that for which there's typically very little thanks or gratitude, but you have to do it anyway. Like you got to brush your teeth, you got to take care of friends and family. If you're a parent, you got to take care of your kids. If you are whatever it is, whatever your day job might be, if you have a day job, just getting on with it, even if it might not be very lucrative, rewarding, or satisfying. It's just something that you have to do. It's also associated with health and healthcare. This would be the energy of nurses and nursing. Okay, nurses and nursing can be a very sacrificial kind of job, where you really, really have to extend yourself in order to help the needy, the sick, the infirm, who often are, inside you might be cursing, like, why do I even bother? These people aren't even worth helping. They're sick, they're going to die anyway. Why am I even here? But you do it anyway, because it's out of pure love and pure compassion. Of course, also for the self, here, for the Libra self, you might start noticing that you might have to start doing a lot of self-care and health-care on yourself, because you might be discovering that you've got a lot of health issues yourself, okay? Let's move on. let's see, look at the Scorpio types over here. So I got to put that on the Scorpio-Taurus axis, which is like sort of here. And so for the Scorpio types, the Pisces new moon would be happening over here in your 5th house of creativity, romance, fun, excitement, leadership. I would say creative. Did I say creative self-expression? Business, could be enterprise. You might be feeling, for example, the Scorpio types with the 5th house Pisces vibe over here might be feeling, wow, I really want to get involved in art and music and writing. I really, really want to go for it. I always wanted to write a book. I always want to make a painting. I always wanted to be a singer. I always wanted to be a karaoke star. I always wanted to, write a screenplay. I always wanted to, see, I have a lot of this stuff in me, so I'm just kind of like talking from personal experience, but the Pisces vibe there would also indicate that, please understand, a lot of people who have great aspirations in the world of divine creativity, divine inspiration for creativity, often suffer what's called dead artist syndrome, where nothing actually happens because there's a lot of commercialism that has infected the world, the pure world of art and creativity, to the point where it's not really about the purity of the art and creativity and the creative self-expression. It's more about the money. So it becomes a little bit distorted. So that's the Pisces vibe. Of course, be aware, again, Scorpio types, like it's great to have these divine inspirations, but be prepared that with the Neptune energy associated with Pisces, it might be tricky to manifest, to bring it into actual manifestation. Now, we do know, just again, heads up for the Pisces types, and well, for all the Pisces vibe, Saturn is going to be moving into Pisces, and that can have 2 vibes. The Saturn can help to manifest the dreams of Neptune, or the Neptune energy, if that's stronger for you, that could dissolve the reality of Saturn, so it might make things very difficult for you. Let's go to the Sagittarius vibes. The Sagittarius over here with Gemini on the 7th house. So for you, Sagittarians, your Pisces new moon would be over here in your 4th house of home, family, foundation, stability, comfort, the love of, like family, kids, stability, perhaps like wanting a home, perhaps craving a new start, new beginnings, new home, new location, remodeling, maybe moving house, moving to a new territory, a new country, a new state, a new block, a new neighborhood, new apartment, new house, new room, new roommates, things like that. Maybe there's a new child in the family. Maybe like the birth of a child. Maybe there's anything to do with home, under the roof, curling up on a sofa like I just did. Things like that. Maybe it's time to really, really, for the Sagittarians, because you love to be out and about, Sagittarians. You love that big, big, big life. But the new moon here in Pisces might be telling you that every now and again, it's okay to take a break and rest and recover and heal and just withdraw from the big adventure. Maybe just for a few days, for a few weeks, and then you can start over again, all right? New moon is right here. New starts and new beginnings. You Sagittarians, you will understand a lot more by the time it gets to the full moon here in a couple weeks, okay? All right, let's move on over here. What about the Capricorns? So for the Cappies, new starts and new beginnings over here in your 3rd house of, let's say, communications, day-to-day activities, friends, loved ones, siblings, I believe pets and animals sometimes too. The Capricorn folks might be feeling like they want to refine their anything that they do with how they present themselves to the world, like in terms of communications with their loved ones with you. How are the Capricorns going to do that in such a way that they infuse more love and defuse the Capricorn tendency to want to have everything really just right and really in a state of order and control? Because remember, the Capricorn vibe is very, very powerful right now with Pluto at 29.5 degrees. It can be like, in some ways, it's the very, very, very worst aspects of Capricorn energy presenting itself across the world right now. I'm not saying that's for you personally, Capricorn folks, but on the mundane global geopolitical scale, we're seeing the very, very, very worst of Capricorn energy right now. And so the Pisces vibe over here in the third house might be an indication that this is unhealthy. It's very, very sick. Something has to be done about it. We need to beautify it a little bit while Venus is here and find ways to refine and perhaps, I'm not talking about retrogrades, but actually doing things to improve, like your mission statement about how you communicate who you are, what you want to do, how you want to do it with the people in your immediate world. Okay? Because otherwise the Capricorns here with that extreme energy could act a little bit like, control freaks or like bulldozers and crushing people in their wake. And you can't, it's hard to make friends and keep friends that way. So, like, dear Capricorns, please be gentle. If you see any opportunities or you're witnessing any vibrations, frequencies that make you feel as though that, okay, I'll just have to back down and it'll be a little bit more compassionate and gentle, blah, 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 blah. Okay, there you are. But people will appreciate that. Okay, let's go to the Aquarians, okay, over here. And with the Leo on the 7th house over here. So there's Leo, the 7th, Aquarius on the over here. So for the Aquarian folks, you might start to get new vibes, new feelings regarding like the material aspects of your life. What are your belief systems regarding money? What's happening in the world of money for you, dear Aquarian folks? New starts and new beginnings for sure. Over the next 4 weeks, there could be some really significant changes or some events regarding your personal finances, how your money works for you. Not other people's money, but your money for you. Where does it come from and where is it going to go? What are you going to do with those resources? Are they very, very fragile? Are you going to have to be very, very, very careful over the long term once you discover and understand the deeper depths of what money means for you? Secondly, we're talking about natural talents and gifts and resources over here. You might get a shining bright light over here on your natural gifts, talents, and resources that could be lit up in such a way that you realize, wow, I'm not so dumb after all. I've actually got some, I have good stuff to offer the world. I have talents, gifts, and resources that I've neglected for a long time, and now it's time to rekindle those, put a spark under there, put a light under it, shine a light on it, and make something good out of that. Okay? And then, of course, for the Pisces folks themselves over here. Okay? New starts and new beginnings. Who are you, Pisces? Who are you really? So we're for the Pisces folks, no matter what your Pisces birthday is, it'll be somewhere in here up to the 18th, 20th degree or something. Again, new starts and new beginnings, because this is actually the start of a new solar cycle for you. A complete new year is starting for you. This is like almost like your birthday here for the Pisces folks. Pisces new moon. So over the next few weeks, I hope that the Pisces people will look at their life, kind of look at the world around them, look at their time, money, energy, and resources. Look at their friends and associations in day-to-day life. Examine their home situation. What does that look like? Look at their creativity and enterprise. What is that looking like for the next year or so? What's your health going to look like for the next year or so? What are you going to do about that? What are your relationships going to look like over the next year or so? Okay? What about your finances in terms of how they affect other people, or how other people's money affects you? Because that's going to be up here in the 8th house, Libra. So in other words, dear Pisces, you've got the second house would be Aries over here. So in terms of money for you. And so the thing is that you've got to figure out personal finances and joint finances simultaneously. What does that look like for you? Then, of course, you've got your, let's say, your learning curve. There's going to be a desire to dig deeper than ever before. There's the Scorpio vibes up here. To go deeper and deeper into the voyage of discovery and wisdom above and beyond everything that you know already. And then with the Sag vibes up here in your 10th house, it's going to be expanding your the adventure that comes with business. Okay, whatever that's going to look like. Maybe your business life, your career life, your destiny going forward is going to be like a new adventure for you. What's that going to look like? Okay. And then with the vibes over here, I'm being very thorough with the Pisces vibes because I have to go all 12 houses because it's your season. So with the 11th house, what's that going to look like for you? It's very serious. What is your role in society? How are you going to define yourself and your role in society for the next year? How do you envisage people seeing you? How are you going to be there for the group, for this society? And how is the society going to be there for you? How are you going to mingle and in the best way that's possible for the community and yourself simultaneously? And of course, the 12th house, the Aquarian vibe for you is, well, you could talk about everything and anything that's failed or not working, or sickness and disease, anything that you might have had to deal with over the last year that has been very, very tragic, very painful, a lot of suffering in any shape or form. Love, money, health, addictions, tragedies, losses, failures, irrecoverable losses, deaths in the family, anything like that. What is that going to look like? What did that look like for you? Because you just came out of it. But what do you anticipate in the next year or so? Okay? So I hope this helped, folks. I was trying to do some... I tried to cover everything here. If anybody wants to go really deep into it, I would love to work with you. Let me just do the routine over here in case there's anybody who's not aware of this. Okay, so, if anybody's watching who's never been here before and you want to go deeper into this stuff for yourself, you can check in at TerraLumination.com. I'll just show you over here. That's the site. That's TerraLumination.com, and you can donate, you can book your reading, buy your reading, and connect with me personally through there and so on. Okay? Also, you can shop and browse and everything like that. So there you go. I really buzzed through everything because I just wanted to cover everything because it is a really important new moon, and we've got these huge energy shifts with the cusp. The big one is the cusp with Pluto on Capricorn Aquarius and Saturn with Aquarius to Pisces. Those are the big, deep shifting energies for humanity right now. But what's that like for you? Okay. So, as always, love thyself. I'm going to check out right now. I'm going to play a little Tarot Lumination song, and if anybody wants to say toodaloo while you're in the chat, that's fine. What time is it? Okay. Okay. I'm just going to play a little song. Okay? A little tiny song. Pisces vibes, so I'm going to talk about the healing, okay?